Hi everybody, welcome back to Conversations About Culture. I'm Gina, I hope you guys are well. Today we're going to be talking about the 4 self-care tips that can improve your life today, so stay tuned. So in a previous video, I mentioned the 4 self-care tips that I've adopted and the things that have helped me to improve my life over the years. So as I approach my 30th birthday, I've been rethinking the whole self-care idea and things that have got me to where I am today. As you know, self-care is a huge part of my life, and I think it's important to revisit the things that have worked for you, things that no longer work for you, and the things that you need to improve on. And I know if you implement them today, they are going to help. That I can promise. So the first thing is take responsibility for your own life and your own choices. This may sound very obvious, but you wouldn't believe how many people have unfortunate circumstances that they've grown up in and they will not let that story go. I mentioned in my previous video that sometimes we hold on to a story because we don't know who we are without it. It gives you a reason to not do the best that you know that you can do. If you hold on to the story that, you know, my dad was never around, I grew up by myself and things were always so hard, but eventually you're going to have to take responsibility for your own life. And I promise you, the moment you do that, it is freeing because you get to decide what you do with your life. Despite your circumstances, you decide what happens in your life. So if you want to go back to school, for example, do it. And if there's days where you're feeling down and low, don't say, oh, I'm going to quit because, you know, my grandmother used to tell me that I'm no good, or my dad used to tell me that I'm no good, and you know, my aunt used to tell me that I would never achieve anything. What do you want for your life? You decide what you want for your life and you take it by the proverbial balls. There's no sense in having this woe is me attitude to everything because it just doesn't serve you. It doesn't get you where you want to go in your life, and there's no sense in getting to the end of your life and thinking, why did I just not try? When you take responsibility for your own life and you say, do you know what? You have told me that I'm X, I'm choosing to be Y. I've moved into completely different careers by just taking responsibility of my own life and my own choices. I've moved out of toxic environments because I made the decision I'm not going to stay in an unhealthy environment. Taking responsibility of your life is more than just saying, okay, I'm going to smash out this goal and I'm going to smash out that goal. It's more about letting the excuses go. So whenever you feel like, do you know what, I'm angry today or I'm upset today, so I'm going to stay in my house, stay in your house, but you take ownership of the fact that you are staying in your house. So something that I did that really helped me was I rewrote my story. I was one of these people that was a bit woe is me and, you know, life's so difficult. One day I just decided to rewrite my story. So instead of being a victim, that sounds so cliche, but instead of being a victim, I was a victor. I rewrote it as if I was the hero in the story. I was not the one that was being trodden on and stepped over and overlooked. I was the one that, despite those things, I am here today and I was successful. And so rewriting your story, first of all, puts things into perspective. And secondly, it helps you to see your potential. You can do so much more than you currently believe that you can. And that leads me on to the second thing that's really helped me, is be aware of your thoughts. I don't know how many videos I'm going to say this in, but it is so important. Your thoughts are going to dictate where it is that you're going in your life. If I believe with my whole heart that all men are trash, guess what I'm going to see? If you believe that you will never be successful, guess what? You're not going to be successful. If you believe that you are always going to fail, guess what? You are probably always going to fail. And when you don't fail and you succeed, it's going to be so surprising to you. And then you're still going to think, well, I guess I'm going to fail at the next hurdle anyway. Be completely aware of your thoughts and then challenge them. So if you hear yourself saying, you're never going to be good enough, you'll never be chosen for this job, you will never be married, you will never have children, nobody will ever want you, challenge those thoughts. What I've realized over the years is my self-belief dictates what I see. We all act out our self-belief. So for example, some people may just be shy. Some people may just only want to speak when they have something valuable to say. Other people will not speak when they feel like nobody cares what they have to say. And so you are acting out your self-beliefs when in fact people might be very interested in what you have to say. So if you are scared of being vulnerable, it will come out. If you are scared of letting your guard down, it will come come out. If you believe people are users, no matter what anybody does, this is what you believe, and you are going to act in accordance to the things that you believe. I mentioned in my last video that when you hear negative thoughts, these are not of God. Pay close attention to your mind and what's going on in your head. So if you want to do this through journaling, talking out loud in the morning, sometimes I have a bit of a chit chat with myself in the shower so that you can hear what's going on in your mind. It doesn't just stay foggy inside of your head. So the third thing that has really helped me, do not take everything personally. Let me tell you something. If you take everything that happens to you personally, you become vulnerable to everything. How people talk to you in the street now upsets you. How strangers talk to you in the street now upsets you. How your boss speaks to you now upsets you. If your child doesn't give you a kiss when you want a kiss, then all of a sudden, what is wrong with me? Am I doing a good enough job? You're at the mercy of everybody that you cross paths with. I had one of my directors the other day say that my work was that's the word that he said. He said, "What is this?" I did not take it personally. He's not saying I'm He's not saying you as a person are disgusting and you can't do your work very well. He's saying this piece of work is not very good. That's it. It's not personal. It's not like he's trying to break me down or wear me down. He's trying to knock my confidence. He's just saying this piece of work is crap and I prefer you do it another way. Now, granted, he could have said it in a nicer way, but what I'm trying to emphasize is not everything is about me. What a concept. Not everything is about me or you. Sometimes people are just rude and that's who they are. It's got nothing to do with you. I remember there was a point in my life where things that shouldn't bother me were bothering me, and it was because everything was a reflection of me. When you are insecure or when you're struggling with your self-esteem, you can go out into the world and look for things that tell you whether or not you are good enough or not. And so what happens is you can become very sensitive to everything that comes your way because you're trying to figure out where you stand in the world. But what that does is it means that you are subject to everybody's opinions, and not everybody's opinions matter. Shocking. Not everybody's opinions of you need to be taken on board. If somebody treats you badly, if anything, it's more of a reflection on them and the type of person that they are, and not so much a reflection of you. It's not because you are weak and you're just so this and you're just so that. Sometimes it's just a reflection of somebody's bad core. Granted, it's not nice to be the recipient of something like that. If every bad thing is about you and what you've done and how you could have done things better, you are literally at the mercy of every single person you come into contact with. Try your best not to take things personally and just realize that, shockingly enough, you are not the center of everybody's world. They have a lot of other things going on. One thing I would say that's almost on the flip side, if you hear things over and over again about your character, I would pay close attention to those things. So if loved ones continually tell you you are too stern, for example, they may be the things that are hindering you from getting from A to B. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to change necessarily, but you need to just adapt in the way that you communicate or in the way that you do things. The last thing that has helped me, and when I say helped me, it's like, I have buried the myth of the strong Black woman. I might do a whole video on this because this has shifted my thinking completely. When I was growing up, all we saw around us was women who were bogged down and they were burdened. They had more responsibilities than was healthy. You grow up with this idea that Black women, we're strong, we can take on so much, we're troopers, we're heroes, we can combat anything in life. And let me tell you something, all we have to do is look back. The generations before us had that same idea. Where has it gotten them? This idea gets you absolutely nowhere. You are not an unbreakable creature. You are not a creature that doesn't need to be taken care of. You are a woman. You are a human being that needs the same care and attention as every other person in the world. I just have this frustration that it's almost like Black women are supposed to be the well that everybody drinks from, or the donkey that everybody puts their burdens on, and we're somehow just supposed to trot along, still looking good, still maintaining a smile, still being able to function properly, being burdened and worn out, it's time to let that go. There's no benefits at the end. You will not be rewarded at the end if you continue to burden yourself. If anything, it's going to mess up your health. It's going to mess up the family around you. If you are allowing everybody to drink from your well, how can you be the best mother and partner that you want to be? How can you be the best employee that you want to be and succeed in your career in the way that you want to, if you are burdened all the time? We've seen what it's done to our aunts, our older sisters, our mums, our grandmothers. It's not working. Out of necessity, these women have had to do more than I think is healthy for one human being to do. If we're not in a place of necessity, tell those people no. Say no so that you can almost say yes to yourself. Because I think sometimes people forget we deserve loyalty too. We deserve kindness too. We deserve to be taken care of too. The same things that burden you are the same things that burden us. And to me, I feel like some people look at us and think, yeah, she can handle more. It's okay to not be strong all the time. It's okay to say, do you know what, I need help. It's okay to say I don't have my stuff together. It's okay to say my finances are not in order and I don't know how I'm going to feed myself. Even if you're 40, it's okay to not be perfect all the time. And I think when we look back at the women that came before us, there were a lot of tears that were not shed. There was tiredness that they had to push through. There was a lot of broken hearts behind those smiles. And this is the generation where we stop that. When we need help, we speak up and we say we need help, because this idea that we are stronger than the average is damaging us. And sometimes I feel like black men play into this notion as well. They feel like they can pile more on us because they've seen their mum managed and their grandmothers and their aunts managed. But just tell them, this is not my portion. I'm not going to carry the weight of everything and everybody on my shoulders. That is not my job. I could literally talk about this for ages. What I want to do is sort of start a discussion down below in the comment section about this idea of a strong black woman. How is it played out in your life? Is it something that you feel empowered by or something that you feel has burdened you? So in the meantime, stay home, stay safe, and I'll be back with another video soon. Bye.